Today we're looking at Module 4, Lesson 20. Very similar to yesterday. Yesterday we used tables and expressions to explore the relationship between addition and subtraction. Today we will be writing and evaluating expressions using multiplication and division. So a nice follow-up, finishing, summary of everything that we've been working on this week. So let's take a look at number 1 in your module, page 89. Please put today's date on top of the page and we can get started. Spring is finally here. Farmers markets hopefully will start popping up soon. And the farmers market is selling bags of apples. In every bag there are 3 apples. So we always want to try to visualize what we're doing. Those are your bags, and in each bag we have 3 apples. They look like scared pineapples, but they're not. They're bags of apples. Alright, so one bag has 3 apples, 2 bags has 6 apples, 3 bags would have 9 apples, 4 bags would have. So what am I doing every time per bag? Per bag. How many apples are there per bag?
You're adding 3 every bag, but you're just timesing.
So I'm adding 3 each time?
No, you're timesing.
No. Right. So I'm taking the number. I'm taking the number of bags and multiplying it by 3 because I have 3 apples per bag. So I have 3 per bag. What operation does per mean? Don't say cat. What operation does per mean? Multiplication. So if bag is B, again, I don't like the capitals. I like the lower cases better. So it's 3 times B. So 3 apples per bag. So that's our formula you should be writing in your chart. That's not correct. So please check your notes and write it the correct way. That's not correct. Please write your notes and write it the right way. Make sure your coefficient comes first. That is the righter way, the correct way to do it. Some of you still wrote on your test BX3. That's not the way to write it. That means something else. So please write it with your coefficient and then your variable. Any questions on that? All right, let's look at the next one. Here's the table again. What if the market had 25 bags? Well, I really don't feel like extending my table to 25. So I can use my formula. So if my number of bags equals 25, I can use my formula to solve. What am I going to write first? What do I write first? Formula. We write our formula first. So my formula is 3B, 3 apples per bag. But now the sentence is telling me I have 25 bags. So 3 apples per 20 each bag. So 3 times 25, 75. So I have 75 apples. Formula to answer. FTA. Formula to answer. Okay, make sure you label your answer. We sold all the apples. Yay! All the bags are empty. Now a truck arrives and has A apples on it. How many bags do we need? So if this is my A, how do I go the other way? I have all these apples from the truck. 3 in this bag, 3 in this bag, 3 in this bag, 3 in this bag. What operation is it when I'm taking my apples and now sorting them into my groups? What operation is that? Division. So what is my equation going to be? If I have A apples, so I have an apple here, an apple here, an apple here, there's a bag. An apple here, an apple here, an apple here, there's a bag. So I have a number of apples, and I'm putting them 3 in a bag. What would my equation be? Right, a divided by 3. And you can add that to your table as well. If you'd rather write it like a fraction, you can do that. You all right?
Yeah.
I think your lung just fell on the floor. So now, a truck arrived that has 600 apples. So that means my A equals 600. So to solve that, what am I going to write first? My formula. So A divided by 3. I know my A equals 600, so I replace my A with the number. And then I label my answer. 200 what? Bags. Bags, because I have 600 apples, and I'm dividing them into groups of 3 bags. Okay? So what is the difference between B here and D here? What was the difference? I was going from what to what in B? Right. And to what operation did I use? And what about for D? Exactly. So when I went from apples to bags, I divided by 3. But when I went from bags to apples, I multiplied by 3. Which is what this is saying. Part D gives the number of apples and asks us for the number of bags. Therefore, we divided by 3. Part B gave us the number of bags and asked for the apples. Therefore, we needed to multiply the number of bags by 3. Okay, so there's that relationship between multiplication and division. All right, number 2. In New York State, there is a 5-cent deposit on all carbonated beverage cans and bottles. When you return the empty can or bottle, you get your 5 cents back. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it adds up. So complete the table below. So look at how our table is labeled with our units, number of containers, and dollars. Because our unit is written in the heading, we don't have to use the symbol in the column. Okay, it's telling us dollars, so I don't have to keep writing dollar sign. So 1 can or bottle gives me 5 cents. How do I write 5 cents in dollars? Well, 0.5, that's 50 cents. Good, 0.05. Now, very carefully, let's fill in that table. So 2 cans is 10 cents. 3 cans is 15 cents. 4 cans is 20 cents. But now our table jumps to 10. So 10 cans would be 50 cents. 50 cans, you can go to your margin and multiply if you have to. $2.50. 100 cans, remember when you're multiplying by 100, we just move the decimal 2 places to the left. $5. So here they put a C. What does that C stand for? Cans, that's right. Or containers. Containers, cans. Be careful. Some people think that stands for cents, and it's not. So I think they could have come up with a better letter. That might get a little confusing. The C could be confusing. So C stands for containers. So what did we repeatedly do throughout this table to find the total of our refund? What did we do to the number of containers to get my refund? Right, so I take my 5 cents per container. 5 cents per container. So write that in the bottom row. 5 cents per container. Your coefficient comes first. Questions on that?
What's the next one?
All right, well, let's take a look at the next one. If C represents the number of cans, which is the containers, what is the expression that shows how much money is returned? And that's what we just came up with. That is our expression. So use the expression to find out how much money Brett would receive if he returned 222 cans. So over here, my cans equals 222. I'm going to write that on the side as a little reminder. Now to solve it, I definitely do not want to extend my table to 222. So I'll just use my formula to solve it. Oops, I just said it. What do I write first? So 5 cents per can. 5 cents times 222 cans. Go to your margin and multiply. So let's think reasonable answers. If it was $1 per can, we'd be getting back $222. If it was half a dollar, if it was 50 cents per can, it would be $111. We're looking at 222 cans. So if 100 was 5, 200 should be about 10. So let's think reasonable answers. How much money was it?
Oh.
11.10. So our answer labeled is $11.10.
I used the chart and I just did
So now Gavin needs to earn $4.50. That's our given. How many cans does he need? That's what we need to know, how many cans. So if that's our refund, what do I have to do? So if that's my refund, what do I have to do to find out how many cans? If I multiply to go that way, what am I going to do to go that way? Divide. So what's my equation going to be? Let's use R for our refund. Right, R divided by 0.05. Add that to your table. And now we can solve. So if we know that our refund needs to equal $4.50, and I know that if I take my refund and divide it by 5 cents, I'll know how many cans he needs. Let's see what a reasonable answer is. He needs $4.50. That lands here in our table. So my answer should be between what? Right, and it'll probably be closer to which one, the 50 or 100? Well, it needs $4.50. Is $4.50 closer to 5 or closer to... So it'll be closer to 100. So I know my answer should be close to 100. So now let's use the formula to solve. So R equals 450. Let's go to our margin and divide. Can I have a decimal in my divisor? No. So if I make that a whole number by moving the decimal 2 digits, I have to move the decimal 2 digits in my dividend. So now 5 is my divisor, 450 is my dividend. So divide. So 90. 90 what? 90 cans. That's why I asked. That's what we have to be careful of. 90 cans. Let's continue. Part D and C are different because Part D gives us the money and asks for the cans. So to go from refunds to cans, we had to divide. But to go from cans to refunds, we had to multiply. So there's that relationship again between multiplication and division. All right, let's continue. The fare for a subway or local bus ride is $2.50. I don't know why I put a picture of a taxi there. I don't know what I was thinking. But
I like taxis. Yeah.
all right. I'd rather take a taxi too, but I get car sick in the back. Anyway, so if one ride is $2.50, two rides is 3, 4, 5. Oh, be careful, the table jumps to 10.
Ooh.
Ooh, be careful, Grasshopper. How much is it for 10 rides in some sort of means of transportation?
$5.
Ouch. What's 30?
Ooh.
So 10, 3 times. $75. So what did we do for each ride? How much is it per ride? $2.50 per ride. So $2.50 per ride. So we could either write it $2.50 per ride. I'm changing that to lowercase. Or you could say 2.5 R, because as you know in decimals we don't have to have that last zero. Gentlemen, please copy your notes. Thank you. Okay, so if R represents the number of rides, the expression is 250R. I agree with keeping the zero because we are talking about money, and we always see that zero in the placeholder for the pennies, hundredths column. So when it's money, I agree with keeping the zero, but it means the same thing as 2.5. So how much would 60 rides be? So my R equals 60. So 250R, I put my formula first, then I replace my letter with its value, then I come over to my margin. This is where it might be easier to drop the zero. One digit for the decimal. So 150, and then you label your answer. So it's $150 for 60 rides. And that is reasonable. We could check, because if we doubled that and doubled that, it works. But we saw yesterday we have to be careful by doubling in the chart, because remember with the recycling how the other one had the extra 300, so the doubling didn't work. So you have to be careful with that. So now the commuter is spending $175. So now I know the cost. So now I know I'll put my cost as C. How would I find out how many rides that is? Going the other way now. I'm taking my total cost and breaking it into rides. I'm separating it into a 250 ride here, a 250 ride here, a 250 ride here. So I'm taking my total, breaking it into smaller groups. What operation is that? Division. So it's C. Come on. What? How do I write my equation? C divided by 250. I know my cost is $175. So 175 divided by 250. I come to my margin. This is where the 2.5 might be easier. I can't have a decimal in my divisor. So 25 into 1,750. 50. If I move the decimal there, I have to move the decimal there. So go ahead and do your division. So how many trips is that? Yep. 70 trips, 70 rides, however you want to look at it. Okay?